Yeah. Quinn on the mic, I'ma lace it with truth. Phillip in the back, calling plays from the booth. Podcast vibes, broadcasting the word. Sharper than the two-edged sword. Every verse heard on my arm strap. Shield tight like a glove. Faith in my veins, powered by God's love. Ephesians 6:11, yeah, it's the drill. Put on the full armor, stand firm in his will. Armor up, we don't back down. Shield of faith when the world comes around. Sword in my hand, I'm ready to fight. Jesus is the captain leading through the night. Yeah, sports in the spirit, it's a game of endurance. Training in faith, no room for deterrence. Quinn and Phillip, tag team for the kingdom. Breaking down walls till the world can see them. Helmet of salvation, blocking the lies. Built the truth, yeah, I'm suited to rise. Yeah, shoes fitted tight, spreading peace while I step. I run this race with Jesus, no regret. You feel the heat, that's the fire of the spirit. Voices in the dark, but I don't even hear it. Face my defense, prayer's my offense. Victory in Jesus, yeah, it's immense.
Welcome back to Armor Up Athletics, episode number 49, By His Stripes, a story of redemption. Excited about this one, Phillip. We've got a great special guest that you have introduced me to. He's got a powerful story to tell. What's going on, Phillip? You ready for this?
Man, I am pumped. I am ready. I am ready to go. Trying to find my jersey number for 49. I just lost it. Let's see who we got here. Did you have a 49?
I did. I'll share mine first, man. So my 49 is going to be a Danville, Virginia resident. Okay. And those of you know, I'm in Danville, Virginia at Averett University. He was a player at Virginia Tech. Came out of Danville, Virginia, went to Virginia Tech, was drafted in the first round. Mr. Tremaine Edmonds. Tremaine Edmonds played linebacker with the Buffalo Bills and wore number 49. He is still active on the roster with the Giants. But out of Danville, Virginia, had to show the town some love. Tremaine Edmonds, number 49. And him and his brothers, he's got two brothers. They all three made it to the NFL, Phillip. So extremely athletic family. And they had they call it the E-Boys, Edmonds brothers, the E-Boys camp. They had a camp, and they hosted it at Averett University for the youth. So that was a lot of fun to see and be a part of. So, yep, Tremaine Edmonds, number 49.
I like it. I like the local connection this week. I found mine. I knew I lost it, but I found mine. Mine is a soccer reference since the World Cup did end tonight. I'm going with the Brazilian legend. If you've ever watched soccer, you know exactly who this is. His name was Ronaldinho. He was absolutely a stud in soccer, especially being from Brazil. So I'm gonna end it this week on a soccer number, and we'll talk about more of the World Cup later. But that's my jersey number this week.
Man, I really thought you were gonna go with Tim Wakefield.
Well, Tom Landry's on there.
Yeah.
The
old knuckleballer. You remember Tim Wakefield?
Yeah, I do. I played for the Red Sox, right?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I do. I wanted to. Once I saw that, I felt like it was appropriate to end the World Cup on a soccer player. So.
Well, again, guys, this is episode 49, By His Stripes, a story of redemption. And our special guest is going to take up the bulk of this show because he has a great story to tell, a powerful story to tell. But as we intro this topic, recovery isn't just about breaking free from addiction. It's about being restored by the presence of God, right? His grace doesn't simply rescue us from our past. It walks with us into our future. He is with us. He's going to come in and he's going to stay with us as long as we want him there. Right, Phillip?
Absolutely. And I think, I know that there is a lot of people who will understand this story and will hear it for absolutely what it is. I've been through it. I mean, I used to say it for a long time that I wasn't an addict. I was an alcoholic, and the hardest thing to do is to say that to yourself. And coming from this guy who I've known my whole life, and how large of an ego and personality that he had, similar to myself, a life of the party, jokester, quick-witted. You know, he's just a character like myself, and you know, I don't know, man. His story is great. Like you said, recovery is not. It's not only about freedom. It's not. It's about the restoration that God gives you, and gives you able to go forward with your life and understand that it's not over. Like that part of your life is gonna shed, and you're gonna be better when you come through it. So I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to hear it. So I'm excited.
Yes, for sure. The story's great. We're going to share a couple verses and we're going to get to that story as quickly as we can because I'm excited for you guys to hear it. Philip, we discussed some verses that we wanted to share, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking and I'm going back and forth on a couple of different things. So I'm going to share two verses. I hope that don't upset anyone. I don't think it should. The first one I'm going to go with is Romans 5, 3, and 4, which I just literally was scrolling and through my notes and found that one from a previous note that I took. So I got to share it anyway. But Romans 5, 3, 4, not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. I thought that was very fitting for this. I mean, we're going to go through some things. We're going to go through some suffering, and how we persevere through that is going to produce our character and produce our hope. So I wanted to share that verse there, Philip.
I love it, and I guess you made me come back to my original one, and I'm gonna share my other one too. So, my original one that I had for because we've been trying to do this episode for a few weeks, was Second Corinthians 6:16. I will dwell with them and walk among them. Um, I love that. That just kind of inspires you that God's always with us, even in our darkest moments, even when we don't believe that He's there. He is among us. So I really, really like that verse.
I think
And
we're both going to jump into Isaiah here on this next one. I'll go with Isaiah 53, 5. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his stripes we are healed. By his stripes, the title of this episode, by his stripes we are healed. How great is that?
that's a powerful verse to me because if you think what he went through to save us, it's truly remarkable. And those stripes didn't come easy, right? I mean, that was a brutal session that he took to save us and give us the grace that we have now. So, man, unbelievable. Yeah, I'm staying in Isaiah myself. Isaiah 43:25. Even I, am he who blots out your transgressions for my own sake and remembers your sins no more. Um, I think it's easy to get caught up in the sin, and not understanding that we're not only forgiven by God, but He forgets about it, and that's a truly a great thing because, like I was joking off the air, society sometimes doesn't do that for us. They neither forgive us nor forget about it. So, thank God we have a mighty God and a loving God that not only forgives us but forgives it and casts your sins from the east to the west. So that's a beautiful thing to have is that grace and that mercy from God.
Yes, sir. So we dropped four verses on you tonight, for you to take notes on, Armor Heads, and now we will turn it over to a very special guest, that Philip has introduced us to. I actually got to play golf with him. I didn't get to mention that in our interview, Philip, but neither one of us are very good, so it wouldn't have been much of a conversation. But we'll turn it over to a special guest interview with Mr. L. Quick. Welcome back to episode 49, By His Stripes, a story of redemption. We are now joined by a special guest, Mr. L. Quick, and we will let Philip start off with some questions and introductions.
Hey, Armor Heads, glad to have you here. Look, this week is very special to me, man. The guy we're about to interview here has been a longtime friend of mine. We've been in some bad places together. We've been in some crazy situations, and to tell you how God works, we've been talking the last few weeks just through text messages and conversations, and I think it felt appropriate that God had me reach out to him and ask him to come on the show because he's got a heck of a story. I hope you guys out there will really listen to this story and hope it resonates with people out there because it's a very relatable story for a lot of people, but a lot of people aren't willing to talk about it. And we appreciate El coming on and being able to give his story and having the courage to do that. So, El, without further ado, my man, you want to introduce yourself to the Armorhead Nation?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Philip and Matt, thank y'all for having me here. My name is El Quick. Like Philip said, I mean, we pretty much grew up together. So thank you very much for having me, and I'm excited to do this. And I just hope someone hears it and it helps someone.
Well, good deal, man. Well, hey, let's jump right in. And Armorheads, yeah, I know you dig at my attire, but we'll talk about that later. Look, man, there's no really easy way to approach this conversation, right? So, I'm gonna just throw it out there. When did you really start with the drugs and the alcohol?
So, as you know, I was in the military. So, right now, I had a little injury. I came home, and that was probably 2000. That was 2008, January 2008. I came to Sherrall. I got under a doctor here, and you know, he prescribed me pain medication. Well, I trust my doctor, and so I started taking it, and they started me out with like 3 hydrocodone a day, so that's 90 a month. Well, just to tell you how quickly this happens, I started 2008. By January 2009, I was taking those 90 in a week, and then buying the rest on the street.
Wow.
So, when I say it happened fast, it was out of control before I even knew it was an issue, really. And I went back to that same doctor, and he said, "Well, I don't treat addiction, so you know, figure it out." And it took me. I spent thousands of dollars, almost lost everything. It lost a great job because of it. I thought, it was over, right? I thought like I'll never recover from this, and I mean, I was so angry because I felt weak, and then I was angry because I was asking God, you know, He didn't hear me, and I heard something today, Philip, and I was thinking about you guys, and I heard a guy say today that sometimes when we ask God for help, we're going 100 miles an hour at the oak tree, and we expect him at the last minute to step in and hit the brake for us. And I think that's what I was waiting on. And it spiraled so bad. I mean, we're only talking, it was about a decade from start to finish. And my wife has pictures of ball games and events with the kids that I only remember. So it got pretty bad. It got to the point where she said, "Hey, if you don't do something, I got to leave you because I'm staying awake at night because you stop breathing in your sleep." 600 milligrams a day of oxycodone. Then I was adding alcohol to it and smoking weed. I mean, I don't know what I was doing, Phil. It was just completely self-destructive. And I say finally, and I can talk through that to the whole end of it, Philip. What did it was realizing I was losing everything. And then I finally got to the point after my dad died, it really got bad because I didn't know where to turn or what to do. And I finally hit a brick wall and was like, the only way to save my family is that I don't need to be here. The best thing I can do for them is remove myself. And financially, I was like, they'll be better off. I justified it. I sat down and like really justified how removing me would help them. VA, they're going to be financially fine. Brooke will be good for Connor. He don't have to see his daddy be a junkie. And I convinced myself that was the right thing to do. And it was just dark energy. Like, that's the right thing to do. Put all my wedding band and all my stuff in her car. And just so happens, man, she walked out and she asked me what I was doing. She realized immediately. She was like, where's your gun? I said, in the truck. She's like, give it to me. And then she said, I'm gonna follow you home. As I walked in the house, you and I talked about this briefly, and I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain this. It was when people say God spoke to them, I know that it wasn't my voice. It wasn't on a lie. That inner voice that's talking to me. It was like in my subconscious, and he said, or what I heard was, "You're not done." And it wasn't about what was said. It was about feeling it. and I felt it like it throughout my every fiber and it just broke me. And it was in that moment that I realized like there, he is there, and I just got to listen better and do and reach out more and really believe in it. And it took me, I mean, listen, it's been 8 years now. It's still a journey, right? Like I mean, I know that there's somebody that's going to hear it, right, and think maybe they're in that same spot, and you just got to keep listening, right, and hang in there.
Man, you know, there's similarities to our journeys, all three of us, right? There's similarities there with the struggle that we all dealt with, and that with the demons we were facing. And all I can tell you, man, is there's a song. Well, one, thank God for grace, right? And two, thank God for
Right.
Sunday mornings. I believe, like you, El, that there was a God there with me. Even though I wouldn't acknowledge him, I wasn't giving him any credit. I wasn't saying his name. I wasn't doing any of that. And he was still there with us, buddy. But, what do you think? When did you really realize it was an issue? Like it was a true problem? Like, because we can justify it, right? Like you said, we got all these excuses.
Yeah.
I mean, we can just, when did you truly realize that, hey, I got a problem?
Well, pretty early on, I think I realized that in the year, I think I was like, wait, this could be an issue. But then for another year or two, I kept saying, well, I clearly have a back issue. My doctor prescribes this. Just because I have to take more than I'm prescribed doesn't mean that I don't need it. I kept justifying it that way. Um, but then after my dad passed and after going through all of that, and then my wife was very adamant, like, this is a problem. Once I spent $53,000, and I was like, wait, this might be an issue. So, it was a lot of things, right? Missing events, not going to kids stuff. Like, so about 3 years into it, I was like, yeah, this is bad. And then it took me another and a half to get away from it.
Yeah, and I guess they say recognition is step one, right? I guess recognizing it is always a good thing, but getting out of it is a lot of times more difficult than we can think of. Matt, you got anything to that, buddy?
Yeah. First off, I'm thrilled to have you and glad that you're able to openly share this story because I do think that it will help someone that may hear this or see this. Um, you know, as you're going through, you recognize what is going on. After the recognition, what was kind of your first steps toward, rehabilitation?
Well, I will tell you, I did not do it the correct way because I should have went and got professional help and counseling and gone through the right rehabilitation path. But because I was ashamed and didn't want, my peers and coworkers and people to know, I said, I'm just going to do it on my own. And, I would have periods where I could, and then, go right back. And so it was an up and down battle for 6 years before I was able, to finally do it. I think if I could do it again, I would have gone somewhere and got the correct help.
Yeah, and obviously we want people to really understand that there's help out there. And Matt, maybe by the end of the show, we can put up the hotline number for addiction. But I can, I know that for me, I had wrote down a sentence that I keep on my desk when I started my journey, and it says, "You won't quit unless you really want to." I think for a lot of us, all three of us again can relate to the "I'm gonna quit." I can remember on three or four separate occasions pouring all the alcohol out in my house. And in a month, when everything was cool, I'd sneak a bottle back in, and then the next bottle, so until you really, I guess, make that decision. And again, I'm not knocking professional help at all. I think you absolutely need that, but you have to have a true heart ready to go on that. So,
So
um,
let me just piggyback off of that, Philip, if you
yeah,
don't mind. You are 100% correct. I know people that go to rehabs 15 times. If you don't want to stop, you're not going. I just mean from a health and physical,
Yeah,
like aspect. I went through some terrible withdrawals,
yeah.
but I wanted to quit. And
Right.
that's what I mean. Once you decide that's what you want to do, I wish I would have found a better way to do it, because through some counseling, I might have developed some more coping mechanisms for other things. Um,
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, that's all, again, people need to hear that, because I think people sometimes there's a lot of reasons why people either don't seek help, can't quit, whatever it is, right? Everybody's got a hurdle that they can't get over. And when we're talking about true addiction, right? I think it's the worst thing in the world. I do. I don't know that I'll go so far and call it a disease, but it is a bad situation. And I am an addict, and so I understand it. But it's a situation where recognition and at least finding the help. But what would you say to someone in your similar situation that feels hopeless or feels like they can't find a way out? What would you say?
the people around you love you. They would do anything for you. God loves you. Like, you're never alone. I don't care how alone you feel, you're never alone. And this will make me emotional. Like, I felt alone. Like, and I felt like I couldn't talk to anybody. I couldn't tell them. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. You don't have to feel that way. There's someone around you that will fight for you, with you, and for you.
Matt, you got anything?
Yeah, I'm similar to your situation in the fact that I'm hard headed, so I said I'm gonna do this alone. I fortunately did not have any setbacks or anything like that along the way. I was lucky on that end by God's grace. But as you're fighting this thing alone, at what point did you kind of start leaning on God and the Word and looking into the Bible and some of that aspects?
So first, let me stop saying alone, because my wife was in this battle from day one. I honestly, guys, she had the worst of it. I wasn't this alone. But to answer the question, I've always prayed. I've always talked to God, but always when I need something, and always when I need Him to do me a favor. Never just to go to Him and say thank you for letting me wake up today. And once I realized like how bad it was, I really started praying more and asking Him, hey, show me a path, please. But after the incident where, you know, it's the darkest place I've ever been in. And the moment I had walking into the house and feeling His presence and Him speak to me, it changed everything. A lot of times, like, my faith would shake because I didn't feel anything in return, if that makes sense. And in that moment, I was, then I knew without a doubt, like, He's got me, He's with me. And so it changed that relationship, because then I wake up every day and say thank you. And I say thank you, like, for allowing me to be here another day.
Man, that's all we can do. And then one thing I found is that one day at a time is a real thing. It really is. And I got one more from me, and then maybe Matt have a follow up. But the last one for me is, what is the one thing that you are most proud of through your recovery journey?
Um, just being more present with my wife and children. Um, being more present with them, and then seeing what that does to them, and like how happy they are that dad's there, that how happy they are that I'm just there and a part of it. And it just means everything. And it means everything to me, and I'm so grateful for it.
Wow. That's what it's about, dude. Matt?
I totally agree with you there, El. being the father and husband that we are called to be. That's been an amazing part of my journey as well. Last question, and we discussed this a little bit before you came on, but with the sports connection this week, Josh Hamilton. Did you ever hear Josh Hamilton's story, and did that story inspire you?
Um, I've known about Josh Hamilton for a long time, and I was a fan. That dude, probably one of the best hitters of all time. And I won't say inspired. I didn't really take inspiration from it, but I mean, because it didn't. I don't know how much it overlapped as far as the years. I think I was probably high during that time too. So, he's a great dude, man, and I mean, I hope that he's better now too. I don't know that I've even followed it to date or how he's doing, but um, it's a sad story too.
Yeah, I think that's because he was one of my favorite players, and still is for the time that he put in on the field. But the off field draw was a lot for him, man. And it's a brutal story. It really is, and it's a brutal story for anybody that goes through it. I think everybody can relate. I guess for him, he had to go through it in the public eye in front of
Yeah, that's
millions
tough.
of people, and that was even tougher for his fall for grace. Was pretty tough in the visible. I don't know that I could have. I think some of ours are out there, but to have the media and the ESPNs and the world looking at you when you're at your worst, I don't know that I could have dealt with that. It's tough enough to deal with it on the level that we're on.
Yeah, I
Um,
can imagine.
well, look, man, I am super proud of you. Again, I've known you for a long time, and we have similar stories, and we've talked about this. And I know you said when I first came on, to tell you how bad I was at one time. L called me. He's like, "Man, I see what you're doing." And he said the first thought he had was like, "What kind of trouble is Phillip in?" He done started a podcast. He must be in big trouble. So
That is true, and I eventually came back to you and told you that, right? I was like, hey, this is what I thought originally, but now I'm so proud of you. Like, and honestly, Philip, because of that and us starting that conversation, like I said, I've been clean for 8 years,
yeah,
but I've been back and forth with my faith and not exactly how I'm supposed to be, and then watching you and talking to you in our conversations and just a little bit of your guidance because you're about a year and a half ahead of me in this journey, and it has really helped me, and you have also been an inspiration to me, I'm grateful for that too, buddy. I love you.
look, man, God's got a way of putting people that you need in your life at the right time. I do appreciate that, but you know, at the end of the day, I glory goes to God. The fact that the three of us are sitting on a Christian podcast talking about our struggles, and it just lets you know that God is real. And like we've talked before, there's people out there that's not going to believe us. They're not going to believe this story. They're not going to think you've changed. They're not going to think Matt's changed. We deal with this all the time. But at the end of the day, my advice is God shushes those haters for me. I don't have to say anything. I know my heart. I know the life that I'm living, and I'm just glad I was a small part of anything that you just made you see God. That's it. That's all we want. That's all we try to do. I'm not trying to get people to see Philip. I'm trying to get them to see God. So,
That's right. Well, I know, and we have another friend. I know Keith Odom, right?
mhm.
So Keith tells me all the time, and I told him I was coming to do this, and he said that he uses my story all the time, but he doesn't use my name. And he said, I'm so glad that you're doing this. He's like, because I tell people all the time, but he was like, I don't want to tell your name. But he said, I talk to people who are struggling, and I'm like, hey, you can do it. I know somebody who did it the hardest way, but he did it. And he was like, I'm so glad you're doing this because I know that it'll help somebody. And I hope so. Because I hope so. I pray that someone hears it and it does help.
Well, I hope this makes it a little bit easier that you can tell it. And if you tell it more, it may come out different and it may take its own form, but I hope you continue to tell it. I think it's a powerful story, especially coming from the person that you are. You're a big fixture, El. I mean, you are. You're one of those larger than life figures that God has put down here. And the one thing that I love about you is that whatever you do, you're going to do it 100%. Whether it be taking pills or trying to help people, you know what I'm saying? And I'm the same way. It's
Yeah.
not a knock by no
No,
means.
I get it.
But whatever you do, you're going to take on and you're going to give it everything that you've got. So if you do continue to stay on this path and serve God and tell your story, it's going to be so impactful. People were telling me that 17 months ago, and I'm really just getting to the point where I'm starting to believe it because I got some speaking dates set up, and I hear it. People message me, but yours is going to be just as powerful, if not even more powerful, dude. So thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, man.
I do appreciate that. Matt, you got anything closing?
Yeah, one final thing. First off, thank you for telling your story. We had a former guest on here one time that gave advice to people that had struggles telling their story, and he said that God puts you through some things and gives you a story to tell, and if you keep that to yourself, you can't help others. So, thank you for doing that. Last question that I typically have for anybody that comes on or talks with us. Ephesians 6:11, armor up, was based on Ephesians 6:11. Put on the full armor of God to protect yourself against the devil's evil plans. Um, how do you armor up daily? Okay, so an example for me is like I got my shield, like literal shield that says Ephesians 6:11, and I say a prayer every morning. Like, is there something that you do to armor up every day to attack the day?
Yeah, so I get up early and I go outside, no shoes. I walk my dog barefoot and I let the sun hit my face and I tell God how thankful I am because so many times I could have not woken up. And I mean, so many times, man. And so I'm just grateful to be here. So I tell him thank you every morning. We have a conversation every single morning, early, sunrise, and and then throughout the day, I just lean on I just when something pops in my head, I talk to God. And I'm at a place now where I'm far enough away where I don't think about it or have any like cravings or anything, but I still run into situations where I see people. It's a small town, and run into some of those same people, and yeah, they might ask me a question. Hey, man, you know anybody need this? And it's so easy for me to walk away from it and then tell God, right? And I just pray about it every day. I feel better about it now. I don't have that issue. I've had doctors try to give me, stuff like they typically would when you're hurt, and I say no, it's because I don't want to put myself back in that spot. But just to answer your question, every day I talk to God every morning.
Small victories, man. Small victories. Like I said earlier, the one day at a time is a real thing, and it's almost like it's 1 minute at a time sometimes, you know. But man, I can't, like I said, I can't be more proud of you for the journey that you're on. And obviously, you can call on me. I put you in our Armor Up Alliance group. I think that's good for even if you don't say anything, that's fine. But Coach Metzger is going to give you a word every morning at 6 a.m. It's going to come in with a great Bible verse to start the day from him. He is like clockwork. I love that man to death. And then other people's going to throw some stuff in there, some songs, and it's just a good positive vibe group. I don't even know them all in there, but it's just a great group of men who are we've struggled and we're trying to stay on path, man. Um, I can't offer you this, and I'm gonna hush. I went to church this morning at Forest Pine to see Ricky Malloy and them play, and God moved in there so much this morning, and what I heard, and when people say God spoke to you, I do believe that. I really do. I think God spoke to me this morning, and what I heard was you're a better person when you're in church. I encourage you to find people that's like-minded. I encourage you to find a brotherhood. I encourage you to find a church home wherever that may be. You don't have to be on the front row giving money every week and leading the choir, but you're not going to be able to get stronger in your walk unless you put yourself around people that are heading in the same direction. You know that. Matt
Yeah.
says it best. If you hang around knuckleheads, you're going to become a knucklehead.
Well, my dad
Um,
always said you're the company you keep.
so that's what I do, and that's what I heard this morning because the devil gets me all the time on, especially on Sunday mornings. Like, don't you just want to stay here and sit in a chair, And no, I don't. I want to get up and I want to go to church. So that's my advice, brother. Again, I'm so proud of you. I love you. You know where I'm at. If you ever need me, we got breakfast this week too, so don't forget.
Yep. I appreciate it. Well, thank y'all very much, man. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on, El. It was amazing to hear your story. We appreciate you again, man. And we are back, episode 49. What a powerful story by Mr. Quick there. I mean, to have the courage to share that, from what I understand, Philip, kind of the first time openly, publicly sharing his story was amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, again, while we've probably waited a couple of weeks to get him on, I know he was kind of struggling with telling that story. It's not easy, as me and you both know. But yeah, I've known it because I've been friends with him. I've kind of watched him go through some of it, just like he's watched mine. Um, so it's just it's a true story of God. That's all it is. It's God, is His redemption. It proves you cannot outsin your grace, as I say often. And like he said, it's so good to see my friend that we have been in some very tough and bad places together come on here and express his love for God. I love it, man. That's what we started this whole thing for is to somebody to see God through us. And him saying what he said about that, it got me emotional. That God is working through us, Matt. And that's awesome. I think it's unbelievable. It gives me chills to think about it, but hey, another brother in Christ, right? Make heaven crowd is what we're trying to get to. So super story, man. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yes, amazing story. And we talked about it a little bit, but I wanted to give a breakdown for some of you that weren't so familiar with the story of Josh Hamilton, former MLB player, got in a bad car accident, had a back injury, got addicted to pills, which led to other things, snowball effect, I guess, as they call it. Failed a bunch of tests with the MLB, was, highly touted as one of the best top prospects, to come out at the time. Ended up admitting that he slept in the back of a truck at some point in his life, and then he got into treatment, got into rehab, committed himself to recovery. And then one of the things that he always credits his recovery to is his faith, like his Christian faith, which the story is amazing. And then he came back and obviously turned into a really good player later in his career. He finally got back in and was able to play. So he came back in 2007 after all that stuff went down, right? So Josh Hamilton's story and tying it in with his Christian faith, I thought was a very good way to connect sports to this story, Philip.
Yeah, and he had a couple relapses through there too. I think the thing that got me is he was so far down. He tells the story of him stealing his wife's wedding ring and pawning it at one point through that. Yeah, he was homeless for a while. We're talking about an MLB player that was literally homeless at one point, but probably one of the most natural hitters I've ever seen play the game of baseball. And truly, I guess the sad part from a sports fan perspective, we'll never know how good he really could have been. But still a phenomenal baseball player and a great story. Again, I'm sure if he could have it to do again, he wouldn't do it quite as hard as he went. But again, like we talked earlier, without those storms, there's not any stories to tell. So I think God uses certain people for those powerful type stories like that, and just hey, thanking God he's okay and he got through it because man, I used to love watching him play ball.
Well, Philip, you said it too,
Dude was
man.
a
Like
monster.
even with the relapses and the time away from the MLB and all that, he was still a five-time All-Star. He was the 2010 American League MVP. He went to back-to-back World Series with the Rangers. I mean, and that's people could argue that he missed his quote prime, right?
And still was a baller. And still was a freaking baller. That's the that's the thing is again, and I think he's even mentioned it in his book. I think he's got a book, and when he tells his story, he knows that he missed some valuable opportunities to probably be a Hall of Famer, to probably win a World Series, to probably achieve everything that baseball had to achieve. Because I think he did it at a high level, but I think he did it with a lot of stuff lingering over him, and was still able to be that good. So imagine if he didn't have the issues and the addiction and the problems. And, I think because at one time in his contract, if he was to drink or take anything, it voided his contract. So to have that hanging over you, hey, I don't get paid if I go out here and drink this beer, but I really want to go, party. So it's amazing. If you ever get a chance, please go read the Josh Hamilton story. We're not going to kind of tell the whole thing tonight on the Armor Up episode, but it's a great story. Go check it out.
Absolutely amazing story, which leads us into some sports discussions. Phillip, I'm thrilled to get this sports discussion started and ended because the World Cup's over. It's been over for 2 weeks for me, but it's over now, and I can finally be done. We got 4 more years before I got to listen to you talk about the World Cup again. That's
Oh no, we
exciting.
got qualifiers and matches. We got to start requalifying. Yeah,
No,
man, we're gonna follow it for 4 years leading up.
tell us what happened.
We'll follow the USA team. Well, Spain beat Argentina. Argentina played really well, but they were, I think, a little bit of it. They played uh, some of the weaker teams in the tournament to start with, even though Cape Verde was really, really good to them. They did have an easier path, so to speak, but they still had to play. Made some great highlights through the tournament, clips and comebacks. But today just run up on a team that was better. Spain possessed the ball 65% of the time. And I was telling you before we came on, here's the radical stat. If you don't watch soccer at all, when I tell you the stat, you'll understand how good Spain is. Lionel Messi, greatest player in the world, hands down, it's not an argument, was held to 0 shots on goal, as well as the entire Argentine team did not have 1 shot on goal today. That is absolutely amazing to me that a team of that caliber with Messi could not even get a shot on goal. But Spain won 1-0 in extra time. It was tied after the regular time. They went in to the extra time, and Spain was able to knock one in, and that was it. 1-0. That's all it takes. But they won the whole game from front to back. I mean, from a statistical standpoint, it was 796 passes to 300 passes. It was just a total domination by Spain. So Lamine is the first team to ever win a World Cup with 3 teenagers on it too. There's 3 19-year-olds on that team. Lamine Yamal being one of them, 19 years old, one of the greatest players in the world now, solidified himself, won the Euros 2 years ago. Dude took his high school exams and went and played in the Euros and won it. So super glad for him to get his first World Cup at 19 years old. That's got to be a phenomenal feeling, right? So congratulations to Spain. And it was been a wonderful tournament. I will say this. There's been so many foreigners that has commended the United States on such a well-run, well-secured, awesome World Cup. I love that. I love that our country was able to host it and that we did such a great job of hosting it. It really highlighted our country. You could hear the foreigners from like saying how bad they thought it was, and then they come here and they really got a good taste of how America is. I'm super proud of that. Super proud of our country. I am proud of my boys. I am going to keep repping them. But overall, it's a win for America, man. It's truly a win for America. It was great. It was great to have it here. Great for soccer. Great for the United States.
I will agree with you on that take, Phillip. It was cool to be able to present America in a positive light instead of media or whatever other portrayals you want to call it that these other countries get of us. So that was cool. That was cool. And I agree with that. One thing I did learn this weekend, Philip, is that you and I are on different pages here with Bryson DeChambeau. Like you're a hater.
Not a hater. I'm not a hater. I call a spade a spade.
The Open was played this week. Ryan Fox comes out on top, but probably the biggest story was the two-stroke penalty assessed to DeChambeau, which you can interpret the rule 100 different ways depending on who you look at it and how you want to play it. But I I don't know. I've personally seen. I'll tell you this. I didn't know that it was in depth with that rule about moving the stuff or stepping on the tall grass or whatever. I guess that's because I've seen my boy Dennis Gearhart, Game Time Barbecue shout out, pull a golf cart behind his ball over the bush so the bush was out of his way. So that's definitely a two-shot penalty. So I'm gonna go back at that.
That's not you didn't play in an Open Championship.
Yeah, well, that was at Marlboro Country Club, so I should go back and get my two shots on that, Dennis. Thank you. But Philip, I don't know, man. I don't. I thought it was ticky tack.
Here's my take. So the penalty itself, I can go both ways on that. From the rule book, I can see why they called it. What I didn't like is all the antics after it. It's golf. It's a gentleman's game, dude. You're out there holding everybody up. You're flailing your hands around. Then you come out and you say, I'm not going to play the next day. Yes, you are. It's the Open Championship. Why would you even say that? Just take your penalty, move on. I mean, there's been plenty of people through the years get penalized in these major tournaments that just didn't act like that. I agree or don't agree, the antics were too much for me. That's ridiculous. Coming from a guy of his stature in the game. So that's what I didn't like is his antics afterwards. I could almost agree that I think it was a ticky-tack call. Um, and other people I thought kind of walked behind their ball too during the week that maybe could have been called. So yeah, the rule in the Open with that tall of fescue and that tall of grass is tough. The only part, Matt, that I will say, he walked back, he walked around, and I think he kind of knew in his mind he was pushing a little bit of that grass down. I mean, let's be real. I think he kind of knew where he was stepping.
I mean, I guess. I think the argument is more of the live versus PGA at this point. Like people,
Sure.
and then obviously DeChambeau's personality and YouTube stuff and all this stuff. Like he's more of a personality now than he is a golfer. I mean, he's obviously still very good at the game of golf. Don't take that the wrong way, but people are portraying him more as a YouTube personality than a golfer.
And he could have been possibly, you could look at it from a perspective that maybe he was singled out because he's on live and the antics and stuff that he does. Maybe. Because again, I did see some other people during the week kind of walk around their ball as well. So I think that rule probably should have been a little bit more clearly defined before they started. Not that they knew they were going to run into that kind of issue. But at the end of the day, again, to me, golf is a gentleman's game, man. You got to be better than that on worldwide television. And then to say you might not play, you gonna take your clubs and go home? What is this? We on the playground? Stop. You're gonna play. It's the Open.
Yes, and we're still in the midst of baseball season after the All-Star break. The Braves come out on fire earlier. I guess it was Sunday, earlier today as we were recording this. Drake Baldwin, 5 hits, 2 home runs. Austin Riley, 2 homers as well. They beat the Rangers 8-5. So maybe we can make a really strong push here after the All-Star break. We kind of went down a little bit. Ronald Acuna is making some rehab starts with Gwinnett. So being able to add him back to the lineup is going to be big for this late season push.
So I kind of keep my eyes on some other teams that some players that I like, and I kind of lean towards the Royals because I love Bobby Witt Jr., probably one of my favorite players. The Padres beat them today 19-2. How does that even happen? They got a pretty decent squad. I don't know how that happened today, but they didn't have a good squad today.
Yeah.
But I really, really like Bobby Witt Jr. That's probably my favorite player right now in the MLB. I wish the Braves would trade for him.
I would take that, but I don't know what we would have to give up to get him, and I'm not a fan of giving up my guys, you know. Um,
You'd have to trade him the whole Falcons team.
that's fine. They can have the Falcons. They can take
They
all
can
of them.
have the Falcons.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well,
Man,
look, we're only what? How many days away from college
and
football?
we are close. We're about a month out. We're about a
About time to
month
start a
out.
countdown, isn't it?
Well, a month out from report day for me, and a lot of schools are going to be starting to report, and then you've got some training camp stuff coming up. Man, it's almost time. I
September
saw a
5th,
post.
first game.
Yep, September 5th, first game. I saw a post that I shared with my wife, and it said, "Gentlemen, go ahead and tell your ladies it's about that time." And it had Monday night football, Tuesday night watch film, Wednesday night football, Thursday night JV football, Friday night varsity football, Saturday college football, Sunday NFL football. So just go ahead and tell your ladies to be prepared now.
Well, the NFL preseason starts in about 2 weeks. They're
Mm.
mid-August when they start, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, preseason will be starting soon. School starts back for us 1st of August. Jaggers playing football this year, so it'll be Wednesday night for me, middle school football, and then JV football and varsity football and through the week. So I'm super pumped, Matt. One of my boys finally playing some football. Ooh.
Look, all they had to do was come watch one spring game in the Ville, and
And
they are
they are
hooked
ready.
on football. I
Oh,
love
it's
it.
on. It's on.
Let's go. Let's go. Man, episode 49's been a fun one, Phillip. It's been a powerful one. It's been awesome to hear the stories, right?
Yeah, again, I guess for me, knowing him all my life and again knowing where he's been and I've been there with him and we've seen each other at our worst and to come on here tonight and to be able to talk with the Armor Up logo behind me and God come out 37, 39 times and it's a different conversation. But man, what a feeling to be able to do that. I'm so proud of Elle again. Glad he come on here and shared his story. I hope he'll continue to share that story, and we'll continue to pray for Elle, and hopefully he'll continue to be a soldier for God, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And, in my closing thought, I will share this week's locker room challenge. Um, this week's challenge is about surrender. Okay. With the theme of this episode, and if there's something that you are going through personally, whether that be drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, there's various forms of things that can hold us back from becoming who we are called to be. This is about surrender. It's if there's something in your life that's keeping you from the person God created you to be, take the first step. Take the first step this week. Ask for help. Talk to someone you trust and pray. Because recovery begins with honesty, guys. Healing begins with surrender. So give it up to God. Talk to somebody you trust, and share your story with them and get some help through this, guys.
I love it, Matt. I love it to death, and I want to share one thing. If you need help, help is available. You can text 988 now, which is the Suicide and Crisis and Substance Abuse Hotline. If you were, L said it to me, he said something tonight that really kicked in and kind of reiterated kind of what I thought too. You're not alone. You're not truly alone. There are people that care for you. There are people that you can reach out to. God loves you. I know that may sound so cliche to some of you that may be going through these tough times, but he does. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Text 988, message us on Facebook. We will help get you some help. Um, but please, 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 guys, if you are struggling, tell somebody. Just talk to somebody. Don't hold that in by yourself. Going through addiction is one thing, but going through it feeling alone is a whole nother burden to carry. I pray for everybody out there right now that's going through this, that's struggling with addiction. Um, Please find some help. Talk to somebody. Again, you can text 988. They made it very easy. You can call 988. That is the national number for you to get some help. So just wanted to put that out there, Matt.
Yes, sir. Prayer requests still open. You know, if anybody wants to drop any prayer requests, I know we have some guys in the Armor Up Alliance that share. We have our DMs open. Send the page a message. Send one of us a message. Even if you want to make it unspoken prayer requests, we'll take those as well, and just pray for whatever you need. For me personally, we're going to keep my Uncle Joel and his family in your prayers. Peace and comfort through this time. We got to talk to him last night on FaceTime, and my kids got to say hello, and it was a touching time. But we need prayers for his family, for his brothers, for his kids, for his wife, as we go through this. Man, it's gonna be difficult, but I have confidence that God's going to take over and take care of him when he gets there, and he gets to see his mom and dad again.
Keep you in our prayers, man. Wow, we'll keep you in our prayers. I do have Lee Wallace told me about Todd Smallwood. He's a good friend of ours. His brother had a stroke. He is home recovering, speech and physical therapy. It's going to be a long road for him, and just wanted to keep him in our prayers and put him on the prayer list. Mom and dad had knee surgery, so continue to pray for him, and he's coming along good. So those are two that I had this week that I wanted to throw out there. But Matt, we were definitely keep Joel in our prayers, man, and pray for peace and comfort and God's will to be done there.
Well, Phillip, if we don't have anything else, man, I'll close us out in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for providing us redemption. And thank you for being with us after you rescue us. You don't just rescue us and leave us. You are there with us as we walk through this journey. Lord, I pray for the Smallwood family, the Leviner family, Joel Quinn and his family, through their different ailments and illnesses as they are battling through this, Lord. We thank you for everything that you've done for us and everything that you're going to do for us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen, my brother.
Amen. Amen. Episode 49, By His Stripes, a story of redemption. Guys, it was fun. What a powerful night. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, go Cougars.
Go Jesus.
Ephesians 6:11, yeah, it's the drill. Put on the full armor, stand firm in his will. Armor up, we don't back down. Shield of faith when the world comes around. Sword in my hand, I'm ready to fight. Jesus is the captain leading through the night. Yeah, sports in the spirit, it's a game of endurance. Training in faith, no room for deterrence. Quinn and Phillip, tag team for the kingdom. Breaking down walls till the world can see them. Helmet of salvation, blocking the lies. Built the truth, yeah, I'm suited to